This is what you need to know about the process of buying your first home. Hello and welcome to Practical Personal Finance, where you get the information you need to understand and succeed with money. Today, I'm going to get you up to speed on what it takes to purchase a home. So whether you're a first-time homebuyer or you just need a quick refresher on the different steps, I've got you covered. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume you're ready to go out and walk through homes. That means you've done your prep work, which in my mind includes getting your credit score where it needs to be, reducing your monthly recurring debt payments as much as possible, saving a down payment, deciding on a city, getting pre-approved for a mortgage, and selecting a real estate agent to represent you in the transaction. If you haven't done some of those, go check out my other videos where I go in depth on many of those topics. Links are down below. The first step in the home buying process is to look at what homes are available to purchase. Websites like Zillow and Redfin have made this part incredibly easy. If you have an internet connection, you can begin shopping for a home in just a few minutes. If Redfin is available in your market, I would highly recommend using it. The listings tend to be more detailed and more frequently updated than what you can get on Zillow or anywhere else, aside from the multiple listing service or MLS that your real estate agent will have access to. All you need to do is plug in your location, budget, minimum number of bedrooms, and property type, and you'll get a list of all the available homes that meet your criteria. Mark the ones you like as favorites, and cross off the ones that aren't your style. Next, get in touch with your real estate agent and let them know which homes you'd like to see in person. Because of the extra time involved, I would advise you only look at homes which meet your minimum needs in terms of bedrooms, bathrooms, property type, and location. If you've already decided you need at least 4 bedrooms, it doesn't make much sense to spend a few hours going to look at a home that only has 3. But aside from those minimum requirements, I wouldn't recommend being too picky when you begin walking through homes. Seeing a variety of options can help you better understand what you're looking for. If it's your first time purchasing a home, it's tough to know things like how much square footage is enough, how big of a lot you want, and how close to your neighbors you'd like to be without seeing some properties first. Once you've found a home you could see yourself living in, step 2 is getting under contract. Your real estate agent will work with you to create an offer that you'll sign and submit to the seller. This offer is in the form of a purchase agreement that the seller can choose to accept and sign or decline and discard. Your offer is allowed to have certain stipulations or contingencies attached to it. For example, you can reserve the right to cancel the contract and back out of the deal if you find out later during an inspection that there's a major crack in the foundation, or that the place is infested with termites. You can also go in the opposite direction and offer to go through with the deal no matter what any inspection turns up. In certain situations, it's all about understanding what's important to the seller. Lots of sellers are only interested in the highest dollar amount attached to an offer, but sometimes adding some extras could make your offer stand out. Is the seller still living in the home? Maybe they need some extra time to pack up and find a new place to live. You could offer to let them stick around for a few months after the sale is finalized and pay you as a temporary renter. Is there a grand piano sitting in the living room? Offer to take it with the house so that they don't need to deal with the expense and trouble of removing it if they no longer want it. Little things like that can make a big difference when it comes to getting an offer accepted and a deal done. So ask your real estate agent to inquire about what's important to the seller and consider addressing those desires in your offer. When you submit an offer on a home, you also agree to pay something called an earnest money deposit. This is money that you're agreeing to pay in cash up front as soon as the offer is accepted and the contract is signed. Typically, the earnest money deposit is for about 1% of the offer amount, and it later goes toward your down payment. It represents your good faith in completing the transaction, and it tells the seller that you're not going to simply disappear for no good reason if something more attractive comes along. If you decide to back out of the contract before the sale is completed without justification, the seller would keep your earnest money deposit. If your offer is close to what the seller is looking for but not quite there, you may be presented with a counteroffer. This is where the seller modifies the terms of your offer slightly to something that they're more comfortable with. If your original offer is below the asking price, the counteroffer will often be for an amount between the two. It'll then be up to you to accept the counteroffer, submit another counteroffer back to the seller, or walk away from the deal altogether. After you're under contract, the next step will be to schedule some inspections. You're definitely going to want to go through with a general home inspection. This is where a licensed home inspector comes to the property and looks at everything from the foundation to the roof and everything in between. Afterward, you get a detailed report with the information about what issues the home has and what it will cost to have a licensed professional fix those issues. The issues that can come up in a home inspection report can range from an outlet that doesn't work, to a broken washing machine, to a leak in the roof. A typical home inspection will cost between $300 and $500, but it'll really depend on the size and location of the home and the home inspector you select. In addition to the general home inspection, there are some other inspections you may want to have done for your peace of mind. You may want to have a plumber come out and stick a camera down into the sewer pipe to make sure it's not clogged up. You may want to have an arborist come and inspect the condition of certain trees on the property. You might want to have the home tested for radon gas, which is naturally occurring and also a known cause of lung cancer. All of these inspections are optional, but in many cases, I think they're justified. Because a home is such a big purchase, I believe the peace of mind that comes with doing your due diligence beforehand is extremely valuable. After the inspections have been completed, you have the opportunity to ask the seller to correct any defects that were discovered, or to ask for a discount on the purchase price to cover the necessary remedies. There may be some back and forth negotiation here, but unless there's something major that turned up during the inspection, there's not much risk of the deal falling apart. And because at this point your mortgage will be in the process of underwriting, any reduction in the purchase price will come out of the down payment you're responsible for at closing. Real quick, before I continue with the next step in the home buying process, I have a favor to ask. If you're enjoying this video so far and you're getting some good value out of it, go ahead and click that like button down below. And while you're at it, consider showing your support from my channel by becoming a subscriber. Thanks. Alright, speaking of your mortgage, step 4 involves the appraisal and the title. These two aspects must be addressed prior to your mortgage loan being approved and the sale being finalized. Let's talk about the appraisal first. The appraisal is typically started after the inspections have been completed and you're confident about completing the purchase. A licensed home appraiser will come out and view the property, compare it with other similar properties in your area that have been recently sold, and provide an honest assessment to your mortgage lender about the value of your future home. In order for your mortgage to be approved, the appraised value must be equal to or greater than the purchase price on the contract. If the appraiser determines that the home is worth less than the purchase price on the contract, then the mortgage will not be approved unless you agree to pay the difference up front. Now let's talk about the title. This is where a title company or an attorney will perform a records search to find out if there are any issues related to the ownership of the property. They need to make sure, by going through old real estate records, that the seller is the clear and sole owner of the property and that they have the absolute right to sell the property to you. And that involves making sure the seller before them had the right to sell the property, and the previous seller, and so on. A title search will also verify that there are no other loans out there where the property was used as collateral, and that the property taxes are all paid up. The results of the title search will often be the last piece of the puzzle before you're clear to close. And even if everything's clean and clear with the title, you would still be wise to purchase title insurance in case anything ever did come up in the future. The final step in the home buying process is closing. After such a long and complex process, you'll be happy to know that this part is relatively easy to understand and complete. Prior to the closing appointment, you'll have a final walkthrough at the property. This is where you have the opportunity to visit the property one more time and verify that any repairs, had you requested them, were completed to your satisfaction, and that the property is in the same condition as earlier. Assuming all looks good, you then go into an office, sign a whole bunch of disclosures, notices, and agreements, and you receive the keys to your new home. Congratulations! Do you have any other questions about purchasing a home? I'm happy to help. Just leave a comment down below. If you're interested in learning about how much you can truly afford to spend on a home, click right here to watch my video on that topic. And if you'd like to show your support for my channel, click right here to become a subscriber. As always, thanks for watching. I'm Andrew Shear, and I'll see you next time.